glad that you are joining us today. You are going to get to hear real examples of tutors that have been on Clubhouse. What do they think? What are their thoughts? And what does it all look like on there? Now, I know some of you guys do not have an iPhone yet, and you're sitting there thinking, why in the world can I not get on this platform yet? I have an Android. I want in. This is still in beta, you guys, so have patience. It will be out to the regular public soon. I am not inside of their platform, so I am not sure what their plans are for their release date. What they're trying to do is a slow rollout so that it doesn't break the system down. And so in order to do that, they need to make sure that as more people grow, that the platform grows with it. So I know that that's one of the reasons why they have this slow rollout that's going on. When I joined, there were 1 million people on the platform. By the end of the week, there were 2 million platform. Then they had Elon Musk on, and it had 6 million people on the platform. I have no idea how many millions of people are on the platform now, but this is the next big thing. And not only, I'm not really one of those people who's like into the next big thing people, but I'd have to say that when the next big thing comes and it works and it helps people like us in our industry, you don't want to miss out. And since this is still in those early stages, there's a lot of things that you can do on the platform that you may not be able to do later on. And so you want to be able to take advantage of all of those things now. So the very first person, you guys, that I am going to introduce is our wonderful Adele. And what I'm going to do, I want to show you guys something very, very cool. When you create when you create your profile, there is a space where you can do a lot of stuff, and I'm going to share with you guys some of these profiles that these people have created. Let me share my screen here. I got to log out of that first and go to screen mirroring. It's coming, and like magic, it is there. Woo-hoo. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly back out of some of these things because I know you guys can see some of this and you don't really want to, nor do you want to see Yusuf's 10. He had a great day if you were wondering. But we are on side of here. I want to show you right now Adele's profile. If you take a look here, you can see here that Adele is an online reading tutor, teacher, mentor, edupreneur, lover of books and early literacy skills, dog mom, coffee lover, and an encourager. I would have to definitely agree with that. She's definitely an encourager. If you want to be able to learn more about her, look at this. She's got some great information on her profile. I work with elementary students to build basic reading skills through building a solid reading foundation. All of my students find success as their confidence grows. I empower educators to successfully engage their ELLs, helping all students meet their language and content goals. If you need help with engagement strategies for online and in person, I'm here for you. She's got a free gift. You just have to check that out. And need help moderating a room, need a podcast guest or someone to interview, she is your girl. So definitely check it out. Ping her into rooms about education, ESL, personal development, and professional development. And quick suggestion here with your free gift, create a bit.ly link there, Adele.
Okay, I was wondering how to keep that easier.
Yeah, so if you create that bit.ly account, that people will be able to go to like bit.ly.com/ and it'll be like at least 4 or 5 digits, and it'll be a lot easier for them to checklist. But that's awesome. I love that you have your free gift on there. You've taken a lot of the suggestions that I've given for people to put on there, and if you want a copy, you guys, of the PDF that I put together on how to create your profile, definitely come and join us. But we want to know, Adele, what has it been like for you on this platform?
I love this platform because I can listen in and do chores around my house if I'm like needing to move around. That was my first love of it. And then secondly, like I can ping in and be a part of the conversation. And I think that's where the money is in this. Mm-hmm. If you are brave enough to say, oh, I have a response to that, or I have an idea, or what do you think of this? That's really where it becomes a really good app, because you can communicate with people you never would meet in life and talk with them And they don't even have to see your face if you're zoomed out, if you're tired of being on the Zoom.
Right.
I think it gives like a lot more freedom for listening and interacting just because of
Yes.
that.
Yeah, and I was reading something that somebody said there's a thing called Zoom exhaustion, which I had never heard of, nor have I really necessarily. Zoom fatigue is what they called it, Zoom fatigue. And I was
Yeah.
like, there's a thing called Zoom fatigue. Like, I've never heard of that before. But there's a piece of me that when I'm done for the day with tutoring, I don't want to be on Zoom anymore. I actually would prefer to have like something on my phone or be somewhere else. Even if I'm still engaging in professional development or learning, I really don't want to be doing it on Zoom. Do you feel that way at all?
Oh, I'm exactly like that. I'm done with it when I'm done with it. I spend all day at my school job doing it, and then I spend all evening tutoring on it. And then when I turn it off, when I'm done with my screen. So having Clubhouse where I can still interact with other people and feel social. It's also helped me as being an extrovert. Like it allows that extra, I do get the extrovert energy from it when I'm like listening and talking. I can feel like my energy levels rise up a little bit, which I was like an unknown
Ah.
side effect that I found has been great.
Wow. See, now I'm an introvert, so it's so funny. Like, I'm an introvert. Somebody called me one time an introvert with manners. I was like, oh, okay. Like, cause like I like to be able to talk and be part of the conversation, but I don't get my energy necessarily from it. Like I get my energy from being alone. So those of you who didn't know the difference between an extrovert and an introvert, there you go. Extroverts get their energy from people. Introverts get their energy from being alone. So that's how we just recharge. So it has nothing to do with how like about your personality. You can't tell an introvert and an extrovert necessarily by their personality, right? But that's really cool that you're able to actually get energy as an extrovert from the platform. And has that happened with any other platform?
At first, I think Zoom helped when I hung out with my girlfriends, but then I definitely get Zoom fatigue, and why they could not stand one more meeting. So with the Clubhouse, you can see when people schedule things that you're interested. You can put it on your calendar, and you can pop in or pop out. Or like I have you set so I can see whenever you're on there, and if I like see that you're on there, I'm like, oh, I might let's go listen to what Joanne's saying, and then I can ping in that at that time.
Yeah.
So it does help. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Yes. So you get to actually be able to go on in and let me show you guys what that looks like so that you can see that on your side as well. So I've got to set up my stuff again here. So let me go here and I'm gonna click on in real quick so that you can see, well, how do I make sure that I can hear the things that I want to be able to hear and not hear the things I don't want to hear. So you see this? This means that whenever Adele is speaking on a stage, that I will be notified, which is what I want. I want to be notified when my people are on a stage because I want to support them. So I came on in. I kind of like Clubhouse bombed Adele. I knew I did it on purpose. I saw that she was in there with like one other person, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go on in, and I'm gonna just say hey. So I like went on in, and she's like, oh, it's Joanne, and she like pulled me up to the stage, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just wanted to say hey. She's like, I'm welcoming one of my friends here into the group. I think that's something that's different too, is you do get to welcome people personally into the platform.
Which has been cool too, because I've been able to welcome some of my Instagram friends who I've never heard their voice into the platform. And I hosted a room on Monday, which was a first for me. I kind of just did it to see how it would go. It went okay. It'll be better next time. But what made it good was that I used all my invites to invite my people so that they would be in my room and give me support, and that made it so much better. So I
Yeah.
spent most of that day welcoming people in, but it gave me more practice moderating and being on the stage too. So
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can see right here, I can actually put on here, do I always want to know when she's on stage? Sometimes when she's on stage, and notice when I click sometimes that now it turns into about that doesn't have like the notification on it. And then I could say never ever and it silences it. Now, the other person doesn't see that I'm doing that, right? And I'm not going to silence Adele because that would be crazy. But I just think that's a really cool feature, is that you get to kind of choose how often you do want to be notified. And there's other settings on here as well. So if I come to the general settings as well, I can set that up on my settings. So here are the settings. It says include trending rooms. Oh, I can turn that off. I didn't realize that. Did you know that, you guys? I did not know that. I wonder what my room would look like if I turn it off. I'm just like, what does my hallway look like? That would be very interesting. Because I like to see specific things. Yeah.
I think that's just on the notifications. I don't think it'll change your hallway. I just think you won't get notifications all the time about these people are speaking in this random trending room and these people are speaking in this random trending room.
You're right.
Like the giant 5,000 plus people rooms, that kind of thing.
Right, right.
So
I did put in there though very infrequent, because you know what was happening when I was tutoring? My phone was over here going bzz, 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 and I was like, dude, like, here's my head. I'm in the middle of tutoring and my head kept going like that. Usually it does that like if somebody's like sending me money, and that's cool because that gives me a good feeling. Like, it was like ding, and I'm like, oh yay, and I just keep doing my thing. But when it's like the notifications from a social media platform, that like annoys the heck out of me. So you do have the ability to put very frequent, normal, infrequent, very infrequent. I just put very infrequent. But if people, it will let me know when you guys ping me. It will let me know if one of you guys is on a stage, and that I appreciate. Like, so by doing the very infrequent, that definitely helps. You definitely want to also connect your Twitter and your Instagram. You had mentioned you're also on Instagram, Adele.
Yeah, I definitely have my Instagram connected, and I have my Twitter connected, even though I only usually use that for school. So I'm going to be transitioning that though in the next couple weeks. So
very cool. Yes, awesome. And I think that's really great, is that you can start like slowly bringing on in your people into the platform. If you've got followers from another platform, I've been doing that inside of my, ultimate support group, and just throwing out the message, hey, whenever I have new invites, hey, I've got an invite, so I do still have 2 invites if anybody wants an invite and you have an iPhone. So that's the big workaround right now. And here's the cool thing. If I invite you and you invite somebody else that's in our community, that helps us bring even more people from our community onto the platform. So think about how you can reach out as well to other people inside of our community to pass it on when you have them. So you'll know. Somebody asked me the question the other day, how do I know if I am going to have any invites? You'll have a little piece of mail at the top and a star. And the star lets you know that you have some invites. It's really cute, star. So, yeah. Awesome. What are some suggestions that you have for people as they go onto this platform, Adele?
I say be a participant when you that's how you're going to get to know more people. It's okay to also go in some rooms and just be a fly on the wall and listen. But I feel like I've gotten the most out of it when I've engaged, when I raised my hand to try to get on the stage. And not that I'm always raising my hand to sell myself, but I'm raising my hand to just be a participant. Yeah. And then I've gained followers on Instagram from it, just because every room you're in, when you're on the stage, or if you're in there's 3 tiers. There's the stage, people who follow the speaker or the moderator, and then the audience. And when you're in one of those upper 2 tiers, people will look more at your profile. They'll look at your social media, and you'll get more followers. So I feel like if you feel comfortable participating, do it as soon as you feel comfortable, so that you can make more use of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny that you say you get more followers because on Instagram, because I'd heard other people say that too. And I was just curious, will it? And it has. My numbers went up from 904 to 910. So they're not huge numbers. But I think the cool thing is to have people following you that you want following you to begin with. That it's right. Not.
They're not a random, they're a quality follower. They're somebody who's interested in what you put out.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of time to really build that. And you start realizing that it is more about that at the end of the day. It is about the quality versus the quantity. So don't ever get stuck on the numbers, you guys. It's about really engaging in the conversations and all of that kind of stuff. So where do you see the future of this for tutors and teachers, Adele?
I love it just like as a tutor because just like your group provides like the coworkers basically that we don't have because being online, I think it provides the same thing. And I do see it providing like PD that maybe we didn't have as people open up their expert rooms as they continue going.
Mm-hmm.
That it's going to really be a good connecting and learning platform, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too, because we can all really benefit from what each other has to share. And if somebody else even like shares, a room, my goal is to really create a clubhouse on there. And apparently, you guys start some rooms first and get comfortable with that and moderate in some rooms and do all of that kind of stuff before you start running your own club. So it's just getting your feet wet. So don't always think like, oh, I have to go on there and start my own clubhouse immediately. You don't. Like, just start joining, just engage. Audrey Connor Gibson already got a student from it. She went into a parenting group, was just offering suggestions on the stage, and got a client. So you guys, this works. I wouldn't be so excited about this if it didn't. If there was nothing positive out of here that you guys would get, like, I wouldn't be excited about it. I wouldn't be sharing it with you. It would be like, here's my review and I'm done. But you can see now we are on video number 3 talking about this. This is a pretty big deal. And the cool thing is it's still in beta. So you guys are finding out about it before it's even launched to the entire public.
Which is awesome too, because it's so new. And even though the population is what you said, like 6 million now, that's still not very much when you think about this grand scheme of like America's 300 million people in just our country. It's the ground level. Just like if you were the ground level on YouTube, you get to really set your platform as the expert, and more people that get to know you now, or it's going to grow your following and grow your business.
Mm-hmm. I do like too that you do have the opportunity when you start speaking on a platform to introduce like who you are. Like there's definitely some more casual rooms that you'll walk on into, and then there's some more formal rooms that you'll walk into. And in the more formal rooms, the expectation is that you go on in and introduce who you are. And, what do you want to be able to get out of Clubhouse? Why are you there? Right? And then be able to add to the conversation. It's almost like that little elevator speech that you give like right out of the gate, which at sometimes can just kind of feel canned and that kind of stuff when you listen to people. But at the same time, hey, they're getting the word out there about what it is that they do. And if that's the way that we can continue the platform so that people can actually make some money off of it, it's not just a time waster. I say that's awesome. It's great that you can be able to do that. Now, Elizabeth was on with me, I think it was a couple of days ago, and she's like, I really want to be able to work on my profile with you, Joanne. And
yeah,
so we did. We worked on Elizabeth's profile. I'm going to show it to you guys real quick so that you guys can see what she came up with. I think when you get to see other people's stuff. You're probably on there as Beth, aren't you?
Oh yeah, Beth answered, yeah.
Beth
but
answered.
yeah, my profile, what it was before I worked with Joanne and you helped me out, to what the description is now in my bio and everything, it's so much different. I like it a lot more. So thank you. And yeah, and I just knew I would need that little bit of help kind of phrasing things. So,
right.
yeah.
And you know what? I love like these things don't come naturally to us, like using emojis for a lot of us in the way that they're using emojis right now. This may be just a trend on here for now and not something that's going to continue. But for now, this is what people are doing. Emojis are searchable. So you want to make sure you have emojis, right? And so we put in here online Spanish tutor for kids, and she's got a Spanish emoji, Spanish flag, right? Ages 4 to 12, she's got 2 kids that are on here. Lifelong learner, she's got an educator, a graduate on here. She's an advocate for disabled people. This really shares who she is. Those of you that don't know, Elizabeth is wheelchair bound. So I think that makes her stand out as something awesome. Somebody else today, they were hard of hearing inside of the one of the chat rooms, and somebody was complaining that they had to introduce who they were before they started speaking. And somebody else said, well, you have to do that because there's some people who are hearing impaired or speech impaired, and it makes it easier for them. And she just got right on up and started speaking. And she had that in her profile that she is hearing impaired and speech impaired. And so I just thought it was so cool that like you can look at people's profiles as they're speaking and know where they're coming from. You kind of get to know, like, are they an expert in that field or not? And she clearly was. And then people started applauding her for speaking up for who she is and sharing her thoughts with people. Elizabeth, as you guys can see, connects children to the world around them with Spanish. She helps kids fall in love with language learner, and she increases their confidence in speaking Spanish. She has over 20 years of experience with speaking Spanish herself, and her other interests include science, healthcare, not a professional, theater, and much more. She's
Gotta put that disclaimer.
That's right. She's on Clubhouse to network with other tutors. I don't know. I'm not sure if I put that on there. I want to make sure I have that on there. She's on Clubhouse to network with other tutors, parents, and homeschool families. And I think that's awesome. She has what she wants to be pinged about. Ping is when there's a little button inside of the rooms. It's a plus sign, and you can bring people on into a room with you. So you can just let people know, notify them that, hey, we think that you'd find value from this room. There is something called ping jail. Since I don't over ping, I will never be in that jail. But some people will just go into rooms and ping everybody in their profile. That's not normal. If you're connected with people who are doing that, just, unfollow them.
Yikes. Yeah, that's weird.
Well, you find out these things. Yeah, someone's like, yeah, I'm in ping jail. I can't ping anybody. I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, it's crazy. So what are some of the things that you have found really valuable on Clubhouse, Elizabeth?
Oh my goodness, so much. So I have loved really getting to connect with people in a new way, and also just getting introduced to people that I might not have ever met otherwise. It's so cool. So sometimes I'll just ping into random rooms that I see the titles are super important if you're going to make a room, because then people will find it interesting and be like, okay, I'm going to ping into this room. But I'll ping into a room and I'll be listening, and I will do kind of what Adele was mentioning, going through the speakers and also the people who are followed by the speakers, and be like, okay, I want to follow that person. They sound like a person I should connect with, or I want to follow this person, or okay, maybe not that person, but this person. And I have just gotten some really valuable connections, and then people who I want to make rooms with in the future. And yeah, so that's been my number one thing so far. Also, a few other tutors and I were talking in a room yesterday. Audrey, if you're listening, shout out to you. We're gonna create a few rooms hoping to connect tutors with parents. So
yes.
So I think that's it's a really valuable space for tutors to connect with parents and educators and everybody in a way that's not at all salesy. It's just really authentic. So I've really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, me too. It is a little bit more of an authentic type of thing. And yesterday I was in a room. The room was all about building relationships with people as a business strategy. Relationship marketing, it was called. And I was like, I love that. I don't think I've ever heard that term, relationship marketing, but that's what I do. Like,
absolutely.
And it doesn't mean like the love sector. That's not what it's referring to at all. Relationship marketing is all about building relationships, people, adding value to their lives, and helping people. And that's exactly what we do inside of this community. And so I was like, oh, I want to be a part of that room. And I found somebody else in that room that just wrote a book about working from home during the pandemic. And she's been working she's always worked from home, like for the last 10 years or so, she's been working from home. But now that her husband and her children are in the space, she shares what does that look like and what are some things that had to change. And I thought that was so cool because I was like, oh my gosh, people in our community would find so much value from that. Like, what is she doing? In her space, how does she organize herself? She's a career coach. So she's going to be on my show on Monday. Come join us.
Yay.
And that was a connection that we made through Clubhouse. And, I hyped her up when I got onto stage, and, then I connected with her on Instagram because you can't DM or message inside of there. I know that was one of the features that you really wanted to have in there, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, and there's a few other features that I was talking about with some other tutors that would be nice to see them implement, but that is one feature that would be really nice. But I do enjoy how you can connect your Instagram or your Twitter and connect with people that way. That's really helpful. Mm-hmm. But no, that's so cool how you made that connection though, and I think it's been really fun for me just the last week or two being able to connect with other tutors here, like in this community that we're already connected with, but explore how to do that in a different way. I know we've talked about that, Joanne, and just how much value can be added to this community. So that's been really fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've also talked about too, like there's just the different levels that you can participate too, that I feel like in the beginning, some people would rather be unseen and just listen, be a fly on the wall. And this gives them that opportunity to do that. And then as they feel a little bit more comfortable, they can speak on a stage. Like it really naturally moves with the progression of people's comfort level. Isn't that awesome?
Very much. Yeah. I have tended to be very much kind of the fly on the wall level in a lot of rooms. Not so much in the tutor rooms because I already know all of you, and so it's just like I'm gonna chat. But in a lot of the rooms where I don't know people, but then I realize, oh, this is a recurring room. I want to come back next week and speak because I'm passionate about this topic. So
yeah.
So some of the rooms recur every single week. Or every so often. So that's really fun too, because you start to see some of the same people over and over and over, and then you can get to know them better that way as well.
Yeah. And we get the opportunity, you guys, to really develop this. Like Joanne, I just put on there. I'd really like to know more about that, like parent tutor group, right? That would be so much fun. And I think that would be of value. Like they could come and ask questions of tutors. Like there could be like a tutor panel, right? Where they come and ask questions and get their questions answered. And who knows what kinds of relationships that can build. Like there's so many possibilities with this platform that are still out there. And I know, Adele, you've got to head on up because you've got a meeting coming on up soon. And I just wanted to make sure that I thank you for taking the time and sharing your experience with this platform.
Thank you for having me. It was fun to talk about. I love sharing it with people because I feel it's like the coolest new thing, I think.
It is the coolest new thing. And I think when people describe it to me that way, I get leery, right? Because I'm like, well, I'm not really one of those people to jump on a bandwagon that quickly. But when it comes to the newest cool thing that can actually work for your business, I am all for it. Like, so that's why we're so excited about this, you guys, because it is about being able to connect you with the people that can really begin to help you get found. Anybody, if you want to be able to get on podcasts, you guys, people will actually put their podcasters on there. You can even search just podcasters and you can see what kinds of rooms are they involved in, what kinds of topics do they talk about. If you want to blog or, find somebody to be a guest blogger on your website, that can even be something that would be useful as well, right? And it's all about being a connector in this platform. So you need to make sure that you connect, you're trying to connect people. You're trying to add value to people, and you are honestly there to be more of service than what can I get out of it.
Yes, I've absolutely noticed that. Bye, Adele. I've absolutely noticed that, and I really actually appreciate that out of Clubhouse more than a lot of other different types of social media. People are, I mean, you're gonna get some, sketchy people here and there. That's gonna happen anywhere. It's the internet. But by and large, the people that I've met on Clubhouse are there to connect authentically and to build relationships with people and to help others more than to, be, I don't know what the word for it is, but
Like just out for themselves, right?
Right, exactly. So I really appreciate that about Clubhouse, for sure.
I do. And you get to join the rooms that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Right. And so if there's a topic that you're like, I would love to be a part of that topic, you get to then join that topic. And I think that is really, really cool. All right. So I'm going to share our next tutor that we have here. We've got Esme Lozano in the house. And if we take a look on over here, you can see that Esme is pronounced Esme. So I love this. Very first thing, she's like, hey, look, I'm going to tell people how to say my name correctly. Which is great because I've been saying Esme, and I'm like, I don't know where I came up with that, but it's Esme. She's the best online reading tutor. That's her keyword. So if you're like, who's she to like think that she is the best? Guys, this is SEO searchable, okay? So
that's why.
So if somebody puts in there best online reading tutor, she's going to show on up. So she's thinking. She's very strategic and very smart. She's an Instagram coach. She's a homeschool mom, blogger, positive soul encourager, bilingual English and Spanish, and she has homeschool mom on there twice. She just wants to make sure that we understand that.
I just want you to know that.
She just want all you to know that.
Did I say homeschool mom?
Yeah. Are you a homeschool mom?
Yeah, 25 years worth. No, actually, I'm going on. Yeah, it's 25 years.
Wow.
Of homeschooling my children.
Wow. I applaud homeschool parents. I think that there's not enough appreciation for homeschool parents. And I think it is a huge job and it is a remarkable job. I mean, to be in charge of the education of your children, you're taking care of the whole child, and you've got that whole job. It's a lot of work, but I really, really do applaud people who do that. And she put here that she's been doing it for 25 plus years, loves mentoring other homeschool moms. Her whole idea is to keep it simple, keep it real, and keep it fun. I love this. So you guys, she runs an online reading tutoring business that stays booked. Don't you love that? Stays booked. Stays booked. I love it. And she's opening daytime hours because she wants to be able to meet the demand. She loves being able to help other moms who want to grow their online tutoring business. And here are the things that she's interested in that you can ping her to, and then her information is there. So you guys, this is such a powerful thing. A lot of people, when people are speaking on a stage, they'll actually click on people's profiles. So you can be getting in front of people that you didn't even know you're getting in front of people just by being in the room, because they'll be sitting there and they'll get bored and they'll start clicking people's profiles. I do it all the time. And so that's like one of the habits, the things that people do. So if you just have on there like your name and how many followers you are, but you don't have any of this information, you are missing out on valuable realty space. So, Esme, what has your experience been like on the platform?
I think my favorite part is that it's not recorded. And, I experienced that with the mastermind calls where you said you prefer that they not be recorded, and just people showing up and being consistent and being genuine, and having that space to say what they want to say at that moment for that moment, has been a good experience with the mastermind. And I found that to be true with Clubhouse. So I feel like if you want to be part of the conversation, you need to be there. There's just no other way to be part of the conversation. And I do like what you said about while you're hearing someone speak, people can actually be looking at your profile. And I think they're going to remember you even more. And I think it's very strategic of Clubhouse to do that, instead of us like being able to chat with each other and just not listen. We're actually focusing in on who's speaking, who are they, what do they do? That's interesting. Or I connect with that person, or I don't. We don't connect for some reason. I think I agree with the Zoom fatigue that y'all talked about, and just needing something, a different way to do some things. And I feel like that's what I enjoy. I enjoy getting away from the visual, and I enjoy the audio side of it. So that definitely was a relief to me. I jotted some other things like cost effective for a tutor. I know you're all about saving money and not spending and making money. And that's like, I think that's your freebie, cost effective tutoring.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely cost effective. You need an iPhone. I'm sure they'll make adjustments later to open it up to the other phones. But I find that everybody can get on their phone. You can speak. If you're, nervous, like, we're here live, it's not, they're not seeing you look nervous or being anxious. So I think those were like the things that I loved about it, not being recorded, being cost effective. Like, I can do this. Someone already approached me and said, hey, let's do a homeschool. And, I am a homeschool mom of 25 years. I do, help people and mentor people along the way, not for a cost or anything, just do it. And, but because I'm so promoting my online reading side, I really haven't ventured off into just, mentoring homeschool families or engaging with them. I think sometimes when you're living it, that's what you do, that's who you are. And so you're like, I don't want to talk about it because this is what I do. But I find the conversations there are just great, and that you can jump in as a seasoned homeschooler and say, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to get past over this hump, or look, these are some strategies that you can use. I also read like how even for podcasts, like there's some like chemical things going on in us, like dopamines and all kinds of things that are good for us, and it's a good feeling. Even to be part of a podcast, I've heard how it's got so many chemical balance benefits for us. And so I'm assuming that Clubhouse would be the same way, that it's going to make us happy to hear other people. People are feeling alone during this season, and just to jump in and just hear people engaging in conversation. I feel like it's really a great feeling. And I think also, those of us that have dealt with Facebook groups, sometimes it's so hard to get in there, to have conversations. You feel a little restricted. And I think being able to just speak, people know that you're genuine. It's very different to write it than to speak it. And they hear your voice and they go, oh, she's really genuine and she wants to be part of the group and she has something of value to give to the group. So I think that's another thing. And I love hearing other people's voices. Even though we've seen each other maybe on Zoom through you, Joanne, and things like that, it's just like to really zone in, like to hear someone's voice is to really tune in. It's a different focus. Mm-hmm. And so I'm enjoying going in slowly because I am booked and I'm really busy and I'm growing my Instagram. And so I'm just trying to find like the balance of how to engage, when to engage, how often, but definitely want to try, I think I want to do something for homeschool moms at some point. And so I definitely want to connect and see what the conversation is, because a lot of times we're very secluded and we're depending on the season of our children, whether they're high schoolers or really young. I find that if you have really young children, it's really hard to get out and connect with other people. And then if you have older children, you're just all about getting them into college. Mm-hmm. So I think that I just want to be there to help people out. And so I feel like it's a good place for that.
Yeah. And I feel like too, like there's a lot of groups that are connecting homeschool families with business people that want to help, not necessarily to sell their services, but the rooms that I've seen around homeschooling that pop up on my feed are like connecting like teachers and homeschoolers, or connecting tutors and homeschoolers, and or people who have a business and they're homeschooling,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
it's like in the conversation seemed to include people like me who don't necessarily homeschool, to be able
Right.
to go on in and add value to the conversations. And I think that's really cool, because I feel like a lot of stuff on Facebook has excluded us and we're not wanted in those groups. And I feel like right now at this point, what I'm seeing on Clubhouse is we're being part of the conversation instead of excluded from the conversation.
Well, and I find for homeschoolers, they typically would attend homeschool curriculum fairs, which I never attended. I just felt so targeted. And I think that the message that I would bring is that, we invest a lot of money in curriculum. That's one thing homeschool, moms do. And now being on the other side as a tutor and having tutors for my son. In fact, my son just finished tutoring with Anna Martin, letting tutor online. And just thinking like, I probably should have not bought that curriculum that didn't get opened as much, and should have just hired a tutor who's passionate about it. And I think that's the voice that I come from, that there are people who are passionate, who can simplify it and get it done. And sometimes we get induced by the packaged curriculum, and we could have really just found someone who's passionate about tutoring that subject. So I think that's where I'm coming from now. Just, it changes your experiences, and you realize, there's something to this. And having that experience now, as I have, 2 tutors from our Jumpstart, or the Jumpstart that I went through, and I hired them to tutor my son. It's obvious to me, like, wow, I did the best thing. And so I think that's where I'm coming from as a homeschool mom. I'm at the end of homeschooling, and you have to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, because you can't know everything, right?
Yeah.
You can't be the expert in everything. And there are people that do have a passion for teaching. I love how you say it, that you say outsourcing.
Yes.
Like, outsource some of your homeschooling. Like, you don't have to do it all. Like, we think that we do when we're a homeschool parent, but we don't.
There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. And nobody, people would ask, how are you going to teach, how are you going to teach high school? I already have 2 sons who've graduated from college. They're professionals now. And I always had people in mind that I knew were going to pour into my sons' lives and those subjects. I never had this network of tutors like I do now from across the world. I mean, Anna's in London and Christina is in the Netherlands, and here my son's interacting with people across the ocean. And what a fabulous experience for him. And so I wish I would have had access to that, but now people do.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh, you could totally be a voice for that too. Oh my gosh, I love it. You could do a whole entire show outsourcing we should do that. That's how we connect homeschool parents to tutors. Outsource your homeschooling to the professionals. Or outschool your topics you hate to teach.
Yes.
And you could get those like high school topics that are like the top ones, right? Like,
well, and some people are homeschooling multiple children. So like, if you're teaching reading, it takes a lot of focus and consistency and systems to have in place. And sometimes I know that when my older son was about to go into college, okay, this is the big test. I've been homeschooling him. Will he get into college? And so our whole focus went into him. And I know that I neglected my youngest in teaching him how to read. And we actually don't even remember how he learned to read. And it's just like we did it, but I don't remember it as well as I did with my first one, who learned to read at 4. It's, how the poor child, the firstborn. But yesterday he had to record, we're doing reading the Bible in a year at our youth, with our youth group. And it was his turn to record the 3 chapters. And I just listened to him, and I'm so grateful he's a great reader and that he could just take off. And, I did all the things that you should do when it comes to reading. But I can see where if you have multiple children, that there's going to be some subjects that are going to suffer
Yeah,
while you're
absolutely.
trying to meet the needs of the others. So definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And not all of your kids then get equal attention either. And it can be just it can be a balancing act for sure.
It is a balancing act. And I think also coming from that place of being able to say, like, I think I wrote something on my Facebook, and it just came to mind the fact that all my children didn't learn to read at the same age. And I want people to know that about me so that they don't think, oh, like all her children learned to read at 4. Not true. I have my first one at 4, the second one at 3rd grade, and we're not sure how the last one learned how to read, but he's an excellent reader.
It all just happened. It just became a flurry at that point.
Just like osmosis. I think I saw your hand raised.
Oh, no, I don't want to interrupt this awesome conversation. I just wanted to say there's some great conversations going on in YouTube and Facebook too. So
yeah, there are. I'm noticing people talking about Robert's podcast, which is Main Street Math Tutor podcast. So definitely check that out, you guys. Lots of connecting happening. And Joanne also had to say, as me, that you're just adding so much value to the conversation. So she said you have a lot of great things to say and share.
Thank you.
And Lisa, in the YouTube chat wants to connect with you, Esme, so we can make that happen through Facebook. So that'll be great.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. So what has been your, like, if you were to take all the features that Clubhouse has, what would you say is your absolute favorite feature, Esme?
I don't know. They're all my favorite right now. I think once I'm leading or moderating, I think it'll be clear to me at this point. I'm kind of the fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if we are on your Clubhouse, I don't know, what is it called? Your room. You are not going to sit there quietly. So if you join Joanne, be ready to speak.
Oh, yeah, because I was like bringing people in. I'm like, oh, I'm not just going to sit here and talk for the entire hour. You guys are going to be part of the conversation.
Requesting you, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I've been on 2 with you, and I'm like, I better be ready. But definitely speaking to things that we've spoken to about before, but in a different platform. That's awesome. And I just think meeting people outside even of our group. I know that there are things that I wish I would have known before, like even sooner, right? I tutored in person, and then I, transitioned to online tutoring during the beginning of the pandemic. And I found you just in time so that I didn't have to navigate. I found Jumpstart, so I didn't have to navigate it alone. But I wish I had even known sooner, because I had been telling my students, like my brain was already looking ahead, and I was telling the parents, hey, would you like to do one online class instead of in person twice a week? And they were still like, no. And then I got one student that lived really far away. He was a referral. And I said, you know what? I know you want to meet halfway, but that won't last long. That's tough. That's a tough drive to meet halfway, and even halfway. So I said, why don't we try online? And so we did. I think I started on Skype. And we did. So he was like my guinea pig, not knowing March would come.
Yeah.
And here I would be, binging on how to use Zoom, never imagined it. So I feel like there are other, potential tutors out there, homeschool moms who have teaching degrees, who have, could be earning income. I think if I look back as a homeschool mom, I think, I did some tutoring in person and students would come to my home. But now I'm able to serve more students by doing it online. I'm able to serve students outside of the state. I have a person in Philadelphia who I've just started tutoring. And so, wow, that's amazing. And so I think there are wonderful teacher tutors out there who haven't really considered the possibilities of tutoring online. And, we always talk about people saying, oh, well, there's just too many tutors out there. No, there isn't, because it's really about people wanting to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're a tutor doesn't mean they want to work with you. Just because you have a degree, just, when I was talking to our mastermind call members or that come frequently, I'm like, they need to hear your voice. They need to see who you are, and do not put your picture, your glamour shot from the 80s anymore. Because you know what, as I just added, I think 2 or 3 students, it's like they acted like they knew me. It was like we had known each other because they had heard my voice, they had seen my video, they had seen my picture. So it was like, hi, we just jumped in and let's go. Yep. And it's important that people just, one of the questions that I ask, when I say the name, for example, Anna Martin, do you know who she is? Oh yeah, Latin tutor. Why do you know that? Because she's warmed up us as tutors to her. Like, we know who she is. She's present. She's consistent. So the same thing should be said about us. When they say our name, they should know who we are, what we sound like, what we're about. And that's really what people, our target client is looking for, someone that they can relate to, that they feel comfortable with. And at the same time, that's a professional and is delivering results. But there's just the social side is just so valuable. And if they can get a different side of us, from Instagram to Facebook to YouTube, to listen to our voice, to see others listen to us, that's valuable.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Social proof. Mm-hmm.
Social proof. Yeah. And Joanne had mentioned she also found me like during the right after she said after the pandemic, and she was thrilled to just find so much useful information about tutoring. And so this is the same exact concept you can put into place with your tutoring business, right? So you get that trust factor going on in, and you get to choose how much content you want people devouring. You get to choose, and you get to choose what you want to say and how you want to say it and on what platform you want to say it. You have so many choices, and so many people get overwhelmed by those choices. Find one and stick with it for now. Okay. So don't think so I'm not here saying oh, you have to be on Instagram, Clubhouse, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, no. That's absolutely not sharing that message at all. But I am saying that this new platform gives that ability to build relationships faster than some of those other platforms. And I think it's just as powerful, if not more powerful, than video.
Well, and I can warm up an audience to me so that they can see I can be visible during this season that I'm very booked. Mm-hmm. So I'm not expecting to get instant clients, though that happens, but I'm getting comfortable with the platform, and people are getting to know who I am. And when the time is right, the clients will come. And I think, I tell people, if you're booked, as soon as someone gets booked, they get really excited, like, oh, I'm done with y'all. Bye, see you. I won't see you for. And I'm like, no, this is the best time. This is the time you can be creative. You can be developing all these kinds of things. This is vital. So if you're feeling booked, whatever booked means to you, this is the time to be trying the new platform, to be creative, to be just trying the things, Joanne, that you gave us to do in Jumpstart. And we're like, oh, not doing an email list quite yet. Okay, this is the time, because things are ever changing.
Yeah,
things are ever changing, and we just need to be ready. And we're business women.
Yeah,
we have to remember that. And we're not just tutoring on the side. We have to be business minded as well.
And businessmen, Robert. Just so
businessmen, yes.
And anybody else who's here listening. Yes.
I have to remember there's dads homeschooling their children too.
Yeah, because you do typically hear homeschool moms, don't you? You very rarely hear homeschool dads.
some are taking, like, one goes to work and homeschools and the other one comes back and takes over. So there's a lot of that going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely have seen that at the
Yeah.
the co homeschooling, I guess. Right? It's definitely happening for sure.
It is.
Got to know who your audience is. That is for sure. I think it's really. I think this gives us an opportunity to kind of jump on something when it's brand new and really get our feet wet with it and exploring. So if you guys aren't on it yet, Elizabeth has some invites. I have some invites. Reach out to one of us. We'll be able to get it. She's like, are you out?
I just used mine actually during this call, which is so cool.
I have two. I think I have two. I'll check again, but if you DM me, I will. I think, a lot of times we're trying to understand something a little too well, like too soon, and like just do what you know to do now, and then you will grow and you will learn. I know I find people do that on Instagram, like Reels is a new thing. Well, I'll get to it. I'm like, just get out there and try it. It's 15 seconds. Like, just try it. And for me, it has been all the difference, because all of my posts are just getting a big reach because they do reward you for using the new features. They are going to put you at the top for being active because they're wanting their business to be successful. And they're going to reward those people who are making their business visible and talking about their business and about Clubhouse in this instance. And so, yeah, I know it seems a little crazy at first because you're doing so many things, but just try a little bit, like just show up. Like maybe this is the season to show up and be the fly on the wall.
Yeah. And tomorrow we're going to be networking on Clubhouse inside of a Clubhouse room. And so if you're not on Clubhouse yet, definitely, again, reach out to one of us. We've got it. Some of you guys are getting invited, and you will have invites right away. Invite somebody else from our community. The more tutors we can get onto our platform right now, don't see this as a bad thing. Don't be like, oh my gosh, there's so many tutors on. No, that is competition mindset. It's not collaboration mindset, right? It's all about collaborating, guys. Okay, when you collaborate with other tutors, amazing things happen. So don't be scared to collaborate with other tutors. Like Esme said, she hired tutors right out of the gate. As soon as she knew that there were tutors that helped in these certain areas, she's like, that's it. I am outsourcing this to you. And then it made her life easier. It made her life easier, right? So tutors hire other tutors. I hired a reading tutor for my daughter. I am a reading tutor. But my daughter was being so pig-headed about learning to read. And I'm like, I need a break. And so I outsourced it to another tutor who helps with reading.
And it gave me time to grow my business. And I can pay for the tutoring.
Right? So other tutors can pay for the tutoring. Boom! There you go. We could be like our own market, you guys.
We are. That's it.
Tutors that hire other tutors. I love it. That could be a thing. That
could definitely be a thing. That has been. I mean, we've gotten several referrals going. I mean, not just referrals of other students, but referrals of sons and daughters and whoever in the different groups. So it's awesome.
I just got a new student whose mom is a second grade teacher. She's teaching online because of the pandemic. She said, my second graders are reading at a kindergarten level. I don't want that to happen to my kindergartner. So I want to make sure that she's getting systematic reading teaching. And so here, and most people would say, I would be intimidated to teach someone else's daughter. Not at all. She was wonderful. She knew what she was looking for. She's not a follower on Instagram, but found me on Instagram. So sometimes we're too stuck on, who's following me? But there are people who know what they want, and they find you, and they move on, and she did exactly that.
And there's more people too that they'll find you and they'll share you with other people. So this is a phenomenon I hadn't thought of. I always ask people, how did you find me? And I had one person say, this teacher from blank referred me. And I was like, I don't even know who that is. I never even heard of them. So people who obviously have found my content or something, and then they're like, you need to hire this person, or they did research and they found me. You don't know how that's going to all work out. And it's amazing.
You don't. And I'm thinking, what about those parents whose students are second graders reading at a kindergarten level? What if she says, I love Esme's tutoring. and I'm going to refer them to her. And
Yeah.
it's possible because they're already tutoring online. Now, I don't have any room. And sometimes I have that fear. Some of you are having the fear of, oh, I'm never going to get students. I'm never going to get booked. You'll get to a point where you're like, oh, you know, I'm staying visible, but I don't want students right now.
Yes,
You know?
yes, that's exactly me, actually,
Joanne.
as me, that is exactly me. Like, I was almost ready to put, like, online reading tutor as the very first thing on Clubhouse. I'm like, ooh, no, I don't really want to put that as the very first thing.
Handle it.
So funny. And Jessica asked a great question. She said, what are some of the hot topics for Clubhouse? Pretty much, well, if you can get a famous person on, that'll always be a hot topic. So like you see like
Joanne
these rooms.
on.
No.
You got Joanne on. Come on.
I think it's don't be worried so much about what are the hot topics versus what do you think would be engaging conversations for the people that would benefit. So right now, here's would be my suggestion. If you want to find out what topics are working, take a look at what topics already exist. How many people are in those rooms? How many people are engaging inside of those rooms? And start taking names of like titles that you like. What are rooms that you would want to join and why would you want to join them? What about that made it interesting to you? So I don't think we can really follow a formula at this point in time of what's a hot topic for people to join on Clubhouse. It is not about the topic. It's about the engagement. Yes, a topic is going to bring them in the door, but if you can't keep a conversation going about that topic for the entire time, people are going to leave. I've walked into so many rooms where they had a title, and I walk into the room, and they have gotten so off track from that actual title that I leave because, I thought it was going to be about this, and instead it's about something else. So think about more about keeping the engagement about that topic. Like, do you have enough content to be able to share about that content? How are you going to bring others into the conversation? You know, are you going to invite other moderators? Are you going to have other speakers that at least show up to the room so that you're not there speaking by yourself? Again, like I will let people know inside of my email list. I use those resources and tools that I've built, right, to engage and bring in that conversation and invite people through the doors. Invite people that you think would make an awesome addition to the platform and to the types of conversations you want to have. Those things are going to be more important than what are the hot topics, I think.
And it's still about the pain points that you've drilled into us. That is still vital.
Yeah.
What's on their mind?
And I hate to end this conversation because I talk about it all day, but it's already 12:32. I got Yusuf waiting on the other side. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us. And tomorrow, if you happen to be inside a Clubhouse, follow me. I will follow you back. And I have a talk tomorrow in the morning. Elizabeth, what time is it at?
It is at 10 a.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. Central.
All right, so 9 a.m. Central, we're going to be...
Oh, sorry. It's at 10 a.m. Central.
That's what I thought. I'm like, no, I have a meeting. It'll be at 10 a.m. Central tomorrow inside of Clubhouse, where we're going to be networking with other tutors. So come and join us and network and get to know some of the other tutors. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.